What's up? What's up? Back with another edition of Tigers Untapped. Head over to bluffcitymedia.co. Bluff City NIL, we're official partners with the Coaching for Literacy, a nonprofit organization using the power of sports to impact childhood literacy. You can read more about them at coachingforliteracy.org or follow them on social media at Coaching for Literacy. Your subscription to Bluff City NIL is 100% tax deductible because of our partnership together. Thank you for supporting Memphis Tigers student athletes and helping promote the monumental cause of childhood literacy.
Welcome to Tigers Untapped, a Bluff City Media podcast. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, TJ Willis and Trey Lasley. Pull up your chair, grab your favorite brew, and enjoy the conversation. Now, let's get to the show.
TJ, my man, how's it going?
Can't complain, my man. We do not plan this, folks. This just happens.
We showed up, and last second I just said, you know what? I'm gonna rock the gray side. I don't know why.
I got the blue side.
We're like an Oreo. I'm the filling.
This is like
the cookie.
I got the ode to Malco. I need Malco back.
Shout out Malco.
I think we're in that time.
I think this was Amani's. I don't know if I should be wearing it.
No, it's good.
All right,
go,
first
man.
things first. Tell the folks what we got tonight. Hey, look at this. Look at the koozie I grabbed. Shout out to our buddy, big friend of the program, Juan Saylor. It's from his 30th birthday several years back.
This is Crosstown Traffic. It's rated R.
I don't know if you could hear that.
Hold yours up.
I don't know if you could hear that, but it almost fizzed on me. Almost exploded. Traffic IPA from the good folks down at Crosstown.
It's crisp and it's loud.
I feel like the first sip's always a bit much. You know what I mean?
It is. It just hits you right in the face, man. That's all I like about it.
There we go. All right, Tej. We had a hoops ball game on Saturday at the Forum. Pulled it out. The Pirates were in town. Was not a pretty first half. I mean, you started out strong. I think you got up, I was looking at it, got up 14-8, just over 9 minutes left. And then TJ, I don't know if you noticed this, but East Carolina then proceeded to hit their next 7. Well, they weren't all technically right in a row, but their next 7 made baskets were all threes.
It's wild.
It was unreal. They were 7 of 14 in the first half from three. One of the worst shooting 3-point percentage teams in the country. And we were making them everybody out there was splashing on us.
Isn't that kind of like, I don't know,
it keeps happening.
The trend the last couple of games?
Yeah. Tulane's they're not a great 3-point shooting team. And they were knocking down threes.
I think that's an understatement of that, really. Like they're awful from three outside of playing us. And then all of a sudden,
we're talking nearly they're over 250 in the country.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? Like, it didn't even make sense. I don't even know how to put it into words, honestly.
Because a lot of it is late rotations, is late closeouts. You're giving up. I mean, they're at the collegiate level. You give them not every time are you going to hit a wide open three, but if they're wide open, you get a good look. Like, you're not going to miss a ton of those, right? So a lot of it's that. But yeah, I don't know. They ended up 9 of 28, 32%. So it came back down. I mentioned they made 7 threes in the first half in a row, and then I think came out in the second half and missed like 7 straight in a row. So, we opened up basically the second half with that 22 zip, went on a 22-0 run. I think that's the second highest run they were saying in the last like 20 years that the Tigers have had. So
seems impressive.
Part of that too is like, and Alo mentioned, he said Chandler was the big rah-rah halftime speech guy, which was good to see. good to hear. I guess we weren't in the locker room. I would have loved to have seen it, but we weren't in there. But part of me is like, granted, thankfully too, that it didn't happen with the last 5 minutes, 6 minutes to go in the game. But it's like, why can't you come out with that energy? I'm not saying go on a 22-0 run at the start of every game, right? But like, why does it take somebody coming in at half, you guys being down almost 10? I think we were down 8, 7.5, got down 11 at one point, I think. Like, why does it take that and to go into halftime and chew into each other? Like, come out with that intensity.
Yeah. I think this has been a weird year overall. Like, I think the obvious leaders of the team, DeAndre, Kendric. So when you hear someone like Chandler Lawson, he is relatively new to the team. It's his second year with the team, but he's not a young guy. He's up there in age, so he has some of that leadership characteristics. So it's actually kind of nice for me to hear that, just because that's someone else who's stepping up and trying to become that leader for a team. And even if it's only a halftime, speech, something small like that, I really like hearing that.
Yeah. I mean, you say it's a weird year. A lot of it has just been since Bama. I mean, leading up, and I mean, the Bama game, I guess, wasn't great. You gave up 91, but since that game, I think if you look at different metrics, obviously, but T-Rank or Bartorvik, like, we're sub 100th in defensive efficiency. So something, I don't know what's gone on. I don't know if it's communication wise. Kendric and DeAngelo talked about it the other day, and availability is like Penny's asked them to be more vocal on that end of the floor. But it's like a switch is flipped, and all of a sudden, like, we're getting into these back and forth scoring battles. Like, I mean, just looking at it, we've given up 91, gave up 79, 86, 96. Thankfully, I mean, the other night, East Carolina didn't hit 60 to 59, so a little bit better performance there. But is there anything that you see defensively that's just like sticking out as to what's going on?
No, I think you kind of touched on it. I think the late closeout has been kind of the biggest dagger to us from the 3-point stand. I mean, literally teams are just dropping them left and right. When you play Alabama, it is what it is. Like, you can chalk up a lot of those just because Alabama is Alabama. But when it's Tulane, when it's UCA or ECU, you don't really have that type of excuse. That's execution, right?
And part of it too is like, and you saw this in the South Florida game, and Elliot Perry used to say, confidence is key, right? You give a team like that that you're a double-digit favorite at home. You let them hit a couple shots, they get confident. Like, that's what happens. You allow them to stick around, then they start really thinking like, hey, we can pull this off. They're playing with a lot of confidence. Like, I mean, that's why you got to, in that type of game, you need that 22-0 run, like, set the tone early, right off the bat, or at least in the first half, right? Like, don't let them build up any sort of confidence and let them feel like they can, or they belong in that game.
Sure.
But, I mean, it wasn't, again, not terrible. We shot 48% from the field. It was a bad 3-point game again. Only 2. He's 2 of 13, 15%. Not a great night from the free throw line. 11 of 17, 65%. I mean, you out rebounded them. You had more assists, more steals. You were able to turn them over. I mean, 3 times their season average. I think they came in averaging like 8 turnovers a game, maybe right at 9. And you turned them over 22 times. So like 2 times their typical average. I think they had more in the I'm thinking Tulane. Tulane was who turns it over 9 times. Might be. No, you turn them over a lot. That's good. I only had 14 yourself, right? We've talked about that before. You knock down a couple of threes, you keep the turnovers down. You should win most of the games you're playing. Box score perspective, who'd you say was going to be player of the game, Kendric? 34 minutes.
Kendric.
Dude, 0 of 6 from 3. What is going on?
He is ice cold, man. He's just lost it.
I don't understand
the stat line.
Some people were speculating, and I've talked about it with some people, is like, Is it because of the effort required to play defense now but he's like, even coming right out the gate, he's missing them. Like the first shot of the game, his first shots of the game, he's sub 30. He's 28% from
Yes,
three on the
28%. I
year.
was just looking it up.
I just don't
No,
get it. I mean, he cannot buy a three.
yeah, he's just ice cold, man. I think it is what it is. And as long as it heats up when it matters, then, I'll let it go, right? ECU, you don't need Kendric hitting 6 threes to be able to win that game.
Oh,
You shouldn't,
absolutely.
at least.
Yeah.
So as
And he
long
did.
as, yeah, when you play Houston or something like that, like, they seem to play up to competition and also down to competition. So when we're playing Houston or even against UCF coming up, trying to think of who else, really those two teams, you really need him. If he can hit 2 or 3, I mean,
It doesn't
that's
have
incredible.
to be 5 or 6 or anything like that,
No,
but just
no,
give
no,
me
no,
2.
absolutely
Give me
not.
2 out of 4, 2 out of 5. But he was 6 of 20. So again, not a great shooting night. 2 of
Yeah.
3 from the free throw line, 14 points, 6 assists, 3 steals. Did have 5 turnovers, so you'd like to see that cut down. I think TJ said something about Alex having a trip dub, and I
He
don't know
did
if
well.
I don't know if you consider this trip dub watch, but 7 points, 7
Yeah.
steals, and 6 assists. We were getting there. He had, I think, his sixth and 7th steal pretty early too, with a lot of time
Yeah.
left. So big game out of DeAngelo, 19-4. Didn't foul out, which was impressive. Was able to stay on the floor the whole time. You're muted. I don't know why this always happens. You are muted.
I'm not actually talking. I was just messing with you.
Dude.
No, I was saying Kendrick and DeAngelo, they typically get all of the attention and the praise, but Alex 7, 6, and 7 that's insane. Like, if you can get that from him, obviously, if you can get 7 steals from anybody, that's incredible. But I think 7 and 6 is, I'll take 7 points instead of the double digits that we've kind of been asking from Alex for 6 assists any day, because it's facilitating, leading to baskets. It's just, I'll take that for sure any day.
Yeah, and I mean, that's 7 points on 2 of 3 shooting, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's coming out at least these last 5 games shooting 67, 43, 56, 67. Like, he's playing pretty good ball.
Just get to the stripe, man.
Yeah, got to get to the free throw line. All right, anything else from East Carolina that sticks out before we travel down to Orlando?
The only thing I think that, and it kind of plays into what we're going to talk about with UCF, I imagine, is they kind of survived ECU game based off community rebounding. And what I mean by that is, like, no one had a substantial amount of rebounds. I think there were like 5 or 6 guys with 4 rebounds each, which doesn't sound like a lot, but they managed
just everybody
rebounds right there.
Yeah, I mean, your entire team had 4 rebounds. Chandler 4, DeAngelo 4, Elijah 4, DeMaria 4, Jonathan Lawson
4,
Keontae 4. I mean, and that's fine. That's 32. You got 32 boards. Alex had 1, Kendric had 2, and KO had 2 in limited minutes. Like, yeah, you don't have to have a DeAngelo getting 11 boards if everybody's kind of hitting the glass. So good to see that. All right. Wednesday tonight. This comes out Wednesday morning to Orlando. UCF, kind of a little bit of the surprise of the conference, I would say, as of date. They are
for sure
currently in the net. They're second in the conference. So Houston is number 1 in the net. UCF 36 in the net. We're currently sitting at 58. So a quad 1. I mean, right now, at least, it feels like a pretty solid. They would stay there as long as they're kind of continuing this direction. So a quad 1 opportunity on the road. Tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Central Time in Orlando. Ken Palm's got it at a, let me see. I know UCF win. 62% chance 4-point game. It's got UCF winning 69-65. That's probably what, though I feel like the line typically falls in par with Kim Palm. I would say it's probably going to be about a 3.5, 4.5 point line. Maybe not, because there was some news today by the Golden Knights beat writer. According to Coach Johnny Dawkins, the Knights, now this isn't official yet. He just said he does not expect Darius Johnson to play, who is their second leading scorer, scores 12 points a game, leads the team in assists at just over 4, and then also leads the team in steals. So would be a pretty big piece. He's averaging 31 minutes a game. So behind Taylor Hendricks, I mean, who's their stud freshman. They've had 6'9", 210 kid out of Fort Lauderdale. Leads the team in scoring, 14.5, almost 7 boards, 1.5 assists. If they're without Johnson, that's an opportunity for Memphis to pull off a dub on the road with the Knights not having one of their 2 best players.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a schedule that's not meant for many big wins in the conference, and this is definitely one of them. This is probably what I think we agreed, one of 4.
I think you got 3 left. I mean,
yeah,
you got this one, and then both Houston games. I mean, you can look at it and say, does Cincinnati's at 100? Could they pull off if they upset a Houston somehow, maybe win at UCF, could they jump up and get into that top 75? Maybe, but I wouldn't bank on it. I mean, Cincy's a team that's got 2 quad 3 losses already. They're 0-4 in quad 1. I mean, I would say these, 2 Houston and this one are your last opportunities, which you're going to need. And we'll talk about that in a little bit, kind of where we stand as it looks right now as far as net and bracketology wise. But big opportunity tonight in Orlando. Especially like we said, if Johnson's not out there. I mean, an opportunity, I think Tigers defensively, if they can turn them over, they're up over 300th in the country in turnover percentage. They turn it over almost 21% of their possession. So you force turnovers and keep them off the offensive glass. We just talked about it, rebounding. If everybody's crashing boards, you're not giving them second chance opportunities. I mean, I think you've got a solid shot of getting out of there with a win tomorrow night. Now, the thing to keep an eye on, they're shooting almost 36% from 3. So we've talked about it. And this has been with, a couple of teams recently that are not great shooting 3-pointers. And with Darius, he's not a great 3-point shooter. So who does that bring? Is that somebody else off the bench that they're going to be bringing in that maybe doesn't get as much run, but shoots it at a higher percentage? Quite possibly, right? Like, you're going to have to defend the 3 and prevent them from getting offensive rebounds for sure.
Yeah. And that's the one thing that worries me, right? Is they shoot decently well from 3 and they're really good at rebounding. And, as we talked about it, call it whatever you want, community rebounding, team effort, whatever. You're going to need guys to have 4 and 5 each like that. Because, as good as DeAndre can be, it's not realistic to ask him to, put up 10 boards or anything like that. He's playing out of position. I think we can all agree on he's not a real center. So asking him to bang down low with big guys, it's just unrealistic, I think. So.
Yeah. So Johnson missed their game against SMU the other day, and it looks like Brandon Suggs, who I think he transferred from East Carolina, 6'6" senior. It looks like he's kind of stepped in and taken the majority of those minutes, at least in that game. Played 27 the other night against SMU. He is shooting 55% from 3 on the year.
Yeah, that's a little misleading.
Obviously, that's going to be inflated, right? How many attempts does he have? But hey, he can at least knock down 1 of 2.
Yeah, coming from a team that would love someone to hit 1 of 2, I would take that. That'd be nice.
He's 6 of 11. That's a little bit like J-Law's been. 6, I mean, not bad. And that's probably just because of with Johnson out there, he's not averaging a ton of minutes, I don't think. I mean, 20-ish, that's fine. But he can knock you. Just to say, I mean, that's a guy right there. If he's got an open three, he's probably going to take it and
probably going to hit it.
Right. Yeah. So you got to rotate, you got to communicate, you got to close out on that guy. Right.
Fun fact on Darius Johnson, his nickname is Mewtwo. Go figure.
Mewtwo?
Mewtwo.
Well, I spelled that. No, don't. You're not the best at spelling. Never mind. Don't spell it.
MEW. Excuse me. I'm an incredible speller. MEWTWO.
Okay, Drake.
One time. One time.
All right, Tej. What's your key to pulling out a dub tonight in Orlando?
Being competitive on the glass. I think that, and trying to defend the 3-point line as well as you can. I think that
run
can
them
really
off
be
the 3-point line.
Yeah, I will forever and ever not understand why we go underneath screens. Personally, I'd much rather them hit that. Someone will be close to the basket, right? Challenge them to get closer to the basket. And
yeah, I mean, they're not a great 2-point percentage team. They're 215th in the country, less than 50% from inside the three. So yeah, if you run them off the 3-point line, make them drive, put up a wild shot and get the board, get out and go. Yeah, I think it's defend the three and get rebounds. Like you said, doesn't have to be, I mean, it could be one guy. If it's DeAngelo and going to grab every board tomorrow night, that's fine. But a team effort, right? Just keep guys off the glass, box them out, limit the second chance opportunities. I'll say this. I don't feel great about, even with Johnson not playing, I do not feel great about. I've kind of been this way the last couple of years with the football team, but we're 1-3 on the road this season. And it just, I don't know. I got to see it to believe it first.
I'll say this. The Tigers have been really good at scoring. This is one thing, by the way. It's going to sound like a venting session now. With the ever-changing rotation, it was going to be shorten it, then it's play it longer. You hear things like play DeMario more, play Elijah McCadden more, play Keontae Kennedy more. And it's all based off stats that they put up at their previous schools. Scoring is not an issue. I think Penny needs to just run the scoring through Kendric, run it through DeAndre, and pretty much anyone else who could score is just ancillary buckets at that point. Scoring has not been the issue. I think we've talked about it last episode. If I told you, we're going to score 7 games in a row in the 80s, we're winning all 7 of those. So I think we mutually agreed on that.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
what happened to the defense?
Coming into the year, it was offensively that's going to be the limitation to this team is offense. Yeah, you got Kendric, but when people close in on him and DeAndre, like, who's scoring? But like you said, I mean, we're averaging probably 88 points a game in the last 7 games. It's defensively. I mean, what has happened? You got to get back to your defense, the first half of the year defensive effort.
Yeah. I think if you're looking for a silver lining against this UCF team that, for all intents and purposes, should probably beat you. I know that doesn't sound good to Tiger fans, but the things that they
even
do well
without CJ Walker and Darius Johnson, they should beat us. You think
CJ Walker, former 5-star, bro?
Yeah, but he's out for the year. Without those two guys, you think UCF
anyway?
They're a better team than us?
It's not that I think they're a better team. I don't think many teams on Memphis' schedule are better than them. Outside of, I will say Houston looks unbelievable. Alabama looked great. I don't think Memphis should lose to many of these. And I think you and I talked about that. I think we said 4. I don't even remember what our record was, but it's already been trashed just based off how things have going. Memphis should beat a majority of the teams on their roster or on their schedule, and they probably will. But you don't have any business playing it so close. What was it? The score? A 10-point win against East Carolina. That is a quad 4 team. It's a quad 4 win. Is that right? And you're winning by 10?
You said it
What's
though.
going
I mean,
on?
they play up to their competition. They play down.
I know, but why? Why is that?
I don't know. They like to make every game exciting.
Freaking bury them. Why are we
I know.
playing
No, I agree with you.
tiddlywinks with South Florida?
That's why our freaking net is plummeting. I mean, we'll get to it in a second, but all right, give me a prediction. You think we win or lose on or tonight, tomorrow night?
I will say Memphis will lose, and it'll lose by 5. And I think that's probably being nice.
TJ, that's absurd.
We've lost Trey. This is a one-man podcast now. Welcome, everyone, to the TJ podcast. Trey is out of the scene.
Sorry. My computer, I needed the cord wasn't plugged all the way in. All right, you picked a loss.
Yeah.
I kind of
Don't you dare say a loss after you just came at me like that.
I know. I think we win. I think there's an asterisk by it though, without Johnson playing. I mean, I don't care. It's not metric wise. There's no
just get the dub.
Whether he's there or not, right? Just get the dub. But I think it's gonna be a close one. I think it's gonna be a freaking nearly kill me kind of game.
Yeah.
I just want an easy one. Just give me a good, comfortable one. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna go we win by like 5. Let's say 5. Let's go 71-66. What?
I said we'd lose by 5 and you come back, they're going to win by 5.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I didn't hear a whole lot of your pick because I was crawling on the floor trying to plug my computer in. But yeah, we'll go a 10-point difference. You say lose by 5. I'll say win by 5.
That's fine. What was your score? I'm sorry. I missed that.
71-66. This is a big week. 2 road games. This is big for resume.
I will say we lose by 5, but I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as some of the other games have been. So naturally, it'll be hella high scoring. I will say 71-65 Tigers loss.
Well, that's
still kind of high scoring
points.
Oh, okay.
You basically picked the same exact score that I picked, except for I said 71-66. So
that's 71-66 isn't my final. Actually,
that is literally that's a score that okay, that's fine. We both picked the same exact score.
It's a wicked web we weave, Trey.
One of us has Memphis losing.
Look,
all right, then
bring back Malco.
We need him back bad. We do need him back. I don't think he's coming back this week, though.
I didn't think this would become a Malcolm Dandridge fan podcast, but here we are.
I mean, we just need his size in the middle, yo. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
He's been a force down there.
He actually has been playing incredible basketball this year.
All right, on to Philly on Sunday.
Temple sucks. What do you want me to say?
Yes, but they also have.
I can actually get a read on them.
They are capable. I will say that. Sunday, 2:00 in Philly. They are currently 136 in KenPom and 168 in the net, which is not good at all. I mean, that is not. I think that is that quad 4?
That's actually quad 5. It's a new category.
I know, dude. If we had lost to South Florida at home, it should have gone down as a quad 5 loss. The first in history.
I will say this. They have a dude who
it's a quad 3
threes. I'm worried.
I know. I saw that. Quad 3 road game. But like you said, I mean, they're a weird ball club. They are, what is it, 5-5 in quad 3. and 3-2 in quad 4, but they're 1-0 in quad 1 wins. They're one and only quad 1 game against Rutgers. They won. They pulled it off, which was some sites counted it as a semi road game. So
yeah,
like we said, they are capable. Obviously talked about it, beat Rutgers. They beat Villanova, which isn't, I mean, blue bloodish program, but this year they're not very good. They're 8-8.
Yeah.
I mean, I think still like a top 75 team. So that's a decent win. It was at home. They beat VCU by 10. We obviously a common opponent there. Beat East Carolina by 2. Beat Cincy at home. Beat South Florida by 4 on the road. Lost to Tulane like we lost.
They played Vandy.
They lost at home. Did they play Vandy?
Yeah, they lost by 2.
Yeah, you're right.
And overtime.
And then they just beat Tulsa by 4, which is killing me because they were up by 14 at half, and I took them minus 12.5 at halftime. So I hope that we beat them by 107 points on Sunday.
Yeah, I respect that. They're just not good. Like, I don't know. When you look at the stats, you're like, okay, well, that guy seems good. And then you look at the rest and you're like, never mind. They're not good. They're just not.
They're
good.
not. I mean, they're 125th offensively, 151 defensively. They turn the ball over a lot.
Dig that.
They don't really shoot great from 3. They're about like us. They're okay from 2. Pretty good from free throw. Got to keep them off the line. Other than that, I mean, yeah. This is a game you should win. Right.
Yes.
I mean, you should be a 7-8 point favorite, I would say, probably. Kim Palm's got us at a 70% chance to win in a 6-point victory.
That's you should be a 14-point favorite.
It's not going to be that high. It's on the road. It's tough to win college basketball games. I'd say it's going to be around 6-7 probably. But you should win by 10. 9-10. Get it up there.
It should be more than that, but it is what it is. It's just not good, dude. And I know saying they're not good, dude, is not. That actually is a stat. It's right here on the sheet I'm looking at. It just says they're not good.
Yeah, so I mean they got 2 guys, stat. Really kind of 3, but what
we have 2. Have 2 guys.
I mean, but our 2 guys are much better than their 2 guys.
Our 2 guys are better than your 2 guys.
Khalif Battle, a couple of 6'6" guards. Khalif Battle, sophomore guards actually, and Damian Dunn. Khalif averages 18, 3, 1 assist. Dunn 14.5, almost 4 boards, 2.5 assists. So if you can come out trying to make some of these other scrubs beat you, I think you're in for a maybe that one could be comfortable. You steal a win in Orlando tomorrow or tonight if you guys are listening on Wednesday, and then you have a comfortable, nice into the road win on Sunday. I say Khalif shoots the ball pretty well from 3 though. 3-point shooters worry the crap out. Even if they don't shoot, the mess out of the ball. It worries me because we just leave people open. Defend the 3, rebound, keep them on the free throw line. Recipe for victory.
It's winning every Tiger game ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even just Tigers. I mean, that would really be a lot of basketball teams.
Yeah.
All right, looking at where we currently stand, we've talked about it a little bit, but resume-wise, so we're 58th today in the net. That will obviously change after tomorrow or tonight's game. We are currently 35th in KenPom, so which I think is more accurate. Obviously, I think the net has some needs a little bit more data behind it to kind of get rounded out, but that feels about right. From a bracketology perspective, man, we have right before Tulane, we were sitting around a 6 seed.
Yeah, how the mighty have fallen.
And today, on Tuesday, January the 10th at 9:35 p.m. We are currently with Lenardi, one of the last four in. We are playing Oklahoma as an 11 seed in the play-in game. And with our boy Jerry Palm, not even in it, not even in the big dance as of today.
I will say, if that were the case, who is this? Who are we looking at here? This is Lenardi. Lenardi has us in the playing game, as you mentioned, and we'd be playing Ohio State. I don't think I hate that.
Did he change it? There's no way it's Ohio State. It's Oklahoma.
That's what I'm looking at now. No, I'm saying no. If you once you win the playing game, you'd be playing the 6th seed, who's Ohio State.
Gotcha.
I'm okay with that. And then Arkansas, Indiana State, like.
Oh, I'll take that. I just don't.
I think that's a nice
I don't know
setup.
that. I guess maybe you get a game in if you win the play-in game.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
It's a nice little setup, but
it's okay. I would take that.
I think there's a better seeding.
9.
I think I'd rather be the 10, but so I don't have to do.
Yeah, probably.
I don't want the playing game. That's just another game, so another opportunity to lose.
I don't know. There's been teams that have played that playing game and made a run.
Sure. I'm just taking away, that possibility.
Maybe we could be the first to win 7 NCAA tournament games to win the title. Go play-in game all the way to the title game.
How many of those traffics did you have before we started recording?
That would be cool. Hey, Auburn's beating Ole Miss by 12 right now. That's good. Is it? I don't know. I guess you want Auburn to be good. That's your win. That's your big win.
That's your best win. Fine. So yeah,
Ole Miss can be middle of the pack. You take Auburn. Let's go, Tigs. All right. Needless to say, big week. Need to beat UCF. Quad 1 boosts the resume. We beat them on the road in Orlando. We probably jumped 20-ish spots, 15 in the net. Right back on track. You got 2 good quality wins, and then obviously 2 chances with Houston left. All right. Anything else basketball-wise? We have had some football news. I mean, we closed out football last week, but the news has been rolling in. Coaching first, 3 changes. I think we mentioned them last week, but we didn't have hires for all of them. Larry Smith, UAB wide receiver coach, 7 years, been hired, brought in. I think we touched on that last week. But special teams hired Chris White out of Buffalo. I mean, how do you really, if you're not Pete Limbo, I don't think it matters. Right? I mean, a lot of it's your kickers. The complaint with us this year was coverage and kickoffs that couldn't get to the end zone or just kicking out of bounds. From a return perspective, we were one of the best in the country, led the American in return yards. Your kickers were good. I mean, obviously, I think shout out to Chris Howard, love him to death. He's a great kicker, but I think you want somebody with a little bigger leg. So hopefully we get that. Joe Doyle rules, great kicker. So obviously a lot of it comes down to your kicking, but I mean, we'll see. I don't know. It's kind of tough to tell. I feel like Buffalo's we looked at it, they've been a little bit kind of middle of the road special teams wise. So I think it really just depends on, like you said, the kickers you got. If you got a really good electric return man, that obviously helps. You know, you got a TP Definitely. Back there that hits the hole hard and can take one back to the house. Obviously your special teams are going to be good. And then it's just like coverage, like we talked about. So if we can do a little bit better on punt return coverage and kickoff return coverage, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. And I actually asked this in an interview, like, do you guys bounce all this stuff off each other? Because Bankins
don't say
obviously
it.
Was
I'm not going to say it, I'm ending the podcast.
But Hankins, this sounds weird. Hankins and Bankins and Barnes have all been special teams coordinator at some point. Either running double duty or
don't. If the staff is listening, don't ever say we fence again.
I think we fence is dead. Thank gosh.
Good.
But
Weefense left the building.
I question why they didn't go away from Bankin's theories, because they obviously weren't working. Like, I know it's the guy's one job. Like, kickers and punters are kind of, I don't want to say like autonomous, but they kind of are autonomous, right?
I've always been a big believer in having your best players on the field at all times.
Sure.
And I'll just say this, looking at our kickoff coverage team, it was not guys that are playing meaningful minutes.
No.
And it's like, I kind of get it from like an injury risk perspective. But at the same time, when you're giving off kickoff returns and punt returns that literally change the game, like, just put your best guys out, your best tacklers, your best coverage dudes out there. Like,
yeah,
Anthony didn't play defensively, but he was fast. He was a hard-nosed football player, and he was on kickoff coverage. Like, I can remember, I think until obviously he had some shoulder issues, but like I can specifically remember him being on kickoff coverage. Like, just put your best guys on the field, your best 11, no matter what, always on the field.
Yeah, it was mostly reserve linebackers.
This ain't the NFL. I don't like special teams only. I get it to work guys in, but like, give me your best 11 dudes every play.
Yeah. I would say most of the guys who played special teams for us last year are actually in the portal right now. So I think we're good there. I don't think we'll have to rely on them anymore.
Well, we will see. All that to say, tough to tell, really. We'll see next year, I guess. It's going to depend on how the kicking goes, and if you can get electric return man. I think with Eddie back, you're probably getting him with punts, but hey, you took one back to the outs this year, so you never know.
Hey, Davion Ross, put some respect on Davion Ross.
Though from a kickoff, you're right. He had a couple 30-yard returns.
Mm-hmm.
And then offensive line hired Jeff Myers, who's been at Iowa State for the last several years. P5 guy, that excites a lot of people, but they were not good this year. So you wonder how much of that is, did he get pushed out, or he just need a new start somewhere?
Yeah, I think if you look at the stats, they have not been great since he's been there. 2018, 111th nationally. 2019, 102. Then you do get some excitement here at 38 nationally.
Yeah, but that was COVID, and they played 8 football games?
Well, they also had one of the best running backs in college football.
That too. Well, they did. Hey, they led the Big 12 in sacks allowed that year.
Yeah. So, I mean,
they also had like 10 fewer sacks than we gave up this year too, even though they were not very good.
I will say that if you're looking for a bright spot with him, his teams have been decent at pass protection, but I think it's just because they run it so much.
Yeah.
That the drop off in pass attempts are kind of down. Not to say I don't want anyone to think it's going to be a bad hire. I literally have no clue. Right. I think that if you're being honest with yourself, this is Ryan's hire where he's like, who can I hire to save my ass to an extent? Well,
you also wonder how much of it is like, do they align more principle wise, I guess, and teaching wise, because we've heard some things that maybe Bridge and Silverfield weren't exactly aligned on some things, and that kind of may have played into the issue. But I will say this, it is, to me, a little bit concerning that the run game for us has been the big, hey, we need to fix this. And then you kind of just mentioned that they've struggled with their pass protection's been better. They've kind of struggled the last year or so with their run game. What they average? They only average like 100 and you said it earlier.
Well, last year they averaged 108 rushing yards per game, which is 116 nationally. I'm not going to lie. Like, I know the Iowa State depth chart. Like, I don't know how many starters they were down or anything like that. But when you see 108 rushing yards per game, that is awful.
Yeah, that's not good. We were at what, like 149 or something?
Yeah, more than that. I mean, Mississippi State, who throws it 1,000 times a game, was in. It's like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, that is bad.
No.
But we'll see. Hey, they'll get it fixed. They've added a ton of size, a ton of depth to the offensive line. They're trying to figure it out. So let's hope they get it figured out.
Definitely.
All right. From a coaching perspective, we've hit the portal. We are still hitting the portal. We've had 4, I think, join since our last episode. So Jalen Joyner, the Jalen Bros, Jalen Joyner and Jalen Johnson. Joyner from FAU. He's an edge rusher. You got Jalen Johnson, who played safety at the Ohio State. So a little Matt Barnes connection there. Simeon Blair, Arkansas safety. So what we are with the 2 of them and Joel Williams, we are loading up on P5 safety. Why do we need so many safeties? Blair seems a little bit like a Quindell immediate replacement. That's a dude that's played a lot of snaps for Arkansas. I think he was team captain this year for the Hogs, but walked on as a quarterback and then made the move over to the defensive secondary. So he's played a lot of snaps for Arkansas the last couple of years. So he'll be a 5th year, 1 year of eligibility. Older guy, was a captain for an SEC team. So that sounds, at least right there, that's kind of a good ad.
I think what you'll see is I think we were kind of privileged to have Tyler Murray as that outside linebacker safety hybrid.
Yeah.
I think we'll see him kind of switch, whoever, replaces Tyler for the most part. We'll see them kind of switch off, and you'll kind of get some more an extra strong safety kind of thrown in if it's Blair Johnson, 41. What's his name? Skip him.
Joel Williams.
Joel Williams. Thank you. You'll have one of them kind of rotate in. I think that's probably
who played. I felt like started getting more and more meaningful snaps later. I mean, obviously, definitely. You add a guy mid-year, it's going to be tough to kind of work him in. But second half of the year, I felt like he was getting, Quindell or whoever went out for whatever reason. Hastings, anybody went out, he was in there.
They definitely favored him over Hastings.
Yeah, I will say this: I looked up something, and this is not. Hey, I don't know. I have not watched a whole lot of Simeon Blair. EFF does not like the kid. Pro Football Focus, I will tell you that. According to them, he allowed 7 touchdown passes while in coverage. He posted a 51.2 overall grade defensively and allowed more touchdowns than any other SEC player this season. And his Pro Football Focus grade ranks 368th out of 379 players that played 700 defensive snaps this season. Don't like that a whole lot. But I will say this. He was on the field for the most defensive snaps on that entire Arkansas football team. He was on the field for 96% of their defensive snaps. So the Arkansas staff liked him.
And I'm curious,
you don't just put a kid out there that's, that could be like we talked about earlier. I think you were about to mention it. Are some of those touchdowns him getting left on an island because a DB got beat or whatever? He's trying to, get over there and make a play. But they obviously saw something. You got somebody on the field that's a captain, and you got him on the field for 96% of the defensive snaps. Like you see something in him.
Yeah. How many times was he left on an island, or how many times were those against SEC talent that he's not simply going to face while he's here? Like he's Alabama won 49-26. How many of those came from Alabama? Like you're not facing anyone with Alabama talent, or I guess Mississippi State, you will. But State beat Arkansas 40-17. You can't tell me that one of those at least wasn't against him there. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to hang that over him until he gets here and the game kind of slows down, because I just think a fair statement would be the game is a little bit slower in the American versus the SEC and things like that. So I think we can see some.
Are you saying the American doesn't stack up to the SEC football wise?
Slightly. Yeah.
Speaking of which, how about that title game last night? Woof.
We gonna do, dude? That's a buzzsaw. They were gonna do that to anyone.
We lost 6 football games this year, not even by a combined 58 points.
I don't think it mattered who you put in that game. Maybe Ohio State. It would be my only argument,
especially with people picking Georgia to be 7-5 at the beginning of the season. You know what I mean?
Who picked
What a
that?
joke.
I need to find the quote. I need to go back and look all that. I think
What a
John said it.
joke.
That John, Travel by John. Everybody knows Travel by John. Follow Travel by
Probably.
John. It was like, who said that? Like, who said that they're going to finish 7-5?
Nobody said they said that. Kirby Smart typed up a fake article. And then we had one more. Jack Greer, Ole Miss offensive lineman, local kid, went to Houston. So adding more depth and size to the offensive line. So they're really making that a point of emphasis this offseason and trying to really get that fixed. So that's good to see. I will say this. Oh, hey, we're missing Busey, whatever. Wide receivers.
Oh, Marcelo Busey.
Yeah.
Not really a transfer, more of a signing, but yeah.
But he's another ad since the last time we've talked. But I will say this. Another undersized wide receiver. He's what, 5'11", right?
Yeah.
TJ.
On a good day. Can
we staff, Larry Smith, if you're listening, we know that you are. We got Rock Taylor and my guy Joe Skates, who needs some rec specs. The only two receivers on the roster that are over 6 feet tall. You want to know how many guys are under 6 feet? And if they're listed at 6 feet, I'm counting them as under 6 feet because we all know that rosters lie about height. So you want to just take a wild guess as to how many of our receivers are under 6 feet?
6. No, 6. Is that not right?
10. 10 of 12 are under 6 feet tall. Well, now 11 if you count, because he's not Busey's not on here. So 11 receivers of 13 are under 6 feet tall. And I'm counting, there are several listed as 6 feet. I'm counting them under because you give them an inch or two.
I don't know. I think Dustin Thomas is actually probably
he's listed. I'd have called him over, but he's listed right at 6 feet, so he's getting the.
He looks bigger.
I'm rounding down today.
Kobe Drake plays like he's 6'4", so he's over to me.
Shout out to Kobe, big Kobe guys here on the pod. Let me ask you this: something I just randomly thought about. You think maybe they throw and change Arrington McCray over to a wide receiver? He's like 6'2", 230, right? Something like that.
I don't think he's 6'2", but he's Sean Dykes to me. Like, I think they are so similar. They're very undersized for the tight end position. Like, you're not naturally going to tell them.
I didn't know if that was something maybe they switch. That's something to keep an eye on this spring.
No, I think you'd probably use his size, like his speed and his agility as a mismatch against a linebacker more than likely. So just keep him at tight end. But, now that you made me think about it now. On the forum,
something
over
to think about.
At bluffcitymedia.co, I talked about a position change, a hypothetical position change, that is. We're stacking up on this defensive line.
I don't know about that, though.
I know. I think it's far-fetched.
Productive. We'll see.
Super far-fetched.
You did blow my mind because I forgot about that. If you guys hadn't seen it, TJ was alluding to the possibility of Kermonte Hamilton float. He was tight end, wants to be a tight end as far as we know.
Yeah.
So somebody that, keeping hey, maybe he goes two-way. Maybe he plays both sides. Do a little jersey switch.
He shouldn't. He doesn't have to.
What number is he? 10? Oh,
12.
You're right. 12.
He didn't have to.
That's right. All right. All I have to say, still need some wide receivers. I feel like that's just
definitely.
You got Rock, Joe, and Eddie, who hasn't formally announced, but he's listed as a fifth year right now.
He'll be back.
We got to let's get some money in the portal.
I would be shocked if they do not sign at least one more wide receiver from the portal.
I mean, I think you have to at this point.
Just from like a numbers perspective?
No, just from you don't have anybody else. You have no one to throw the football to.
It's not true. I mean, I think you definitely know going into it, Skates, Rock Taylor, and
I'm talking about proven. Give me somebody in here
What? Why? Why do you need that? Calvin was improved. He
Did you
wasn't
just
proven at
watch
one
this
point.
last year at one point?
That's what we're talking about, is it not?
No,
No
I
one
want
just.
somebody in here proven now
Why? Why does that matter?
because it gives you a little bit of comfort and security. Right
Why
now,
don't
we're
you just
going into
stack
here
up and
with
just have the confidence?
we got 11 guys under 6 feet tall.
What
Who
does
the hell
that
are we throwing the
matter?
football to?
Look, you can say what
Give
you
me some
want.
size. Give me some jump ball guys.
We had jump ball guy, and you know what he never did?
Give me a
Catch
Carlos
touchdowns. He
freaking
never caught it.
Singleton.
Give me that 6'8" king. You kidding me? I'll take that though.
All right. Anything else with current football? Because there's one other thing we got to touch on real quick.
No, I think we touched on everything.
All right. DeAngelo.
Yeah. I was curious if you were mentioning
Class of 2023 Hall of Fame, College Football Hall of Fame inductee. Greatest Tiger ever so far? Up there.
Yeah.
Up there with
I would-
throw Brady. You throw Brady out there?
Oh,
Okay. Wow.
you're going to have the old
You're a
heads
big
come
Brady
at
guy.
us. I am. I think Brady was really good, but I think that what we get into the situation of is forgetting like a Bramlett, Greenhill, like the old guys from back in the day. We didn't watch them play.
Yeah, that's tough for me to.
Curtis Steele. Put some respect on Curtis Steele's name.
Shout out Curtis Steele. Joe Doss.
Joe. All right, now it's getting weird.
Yeah, but shout out to D Will. Was it 2005 first team All-American? I saw this earlier. 34. This is a record, NCAA record. 34 100 plus yard rushing games. Gosh, how we missed that. We've probably almost gone 34 games without a 100-yard rusher at this point. How good would this team have been with DeAngelo on it? Real good. If you could add one ex-Memphis Tiger football player to this team, who would it be?
Anthony Miller.
That's what I was gonna. See, I would say now. I was gonna say Anthony. So much freaking heart, passion, local kid. We just talked about we need a proven wide receiver. DeAngelo would change his team too. Let's go one offensive and defense. You said Anthony. What about defensively?
It's tough because I think my initial answer was Bryce Huff, but I think that Jalen had a good enough year that I wouldn't replace him.
He
with
is
Bryce.
coming back. Oh, I see what you're saying.
No. I'm saying
I see what you're saying. I see. Yeah.
Bryce was a monster, but I'm not trying to replace Jalen with that. So I'm trying to find.
This isn't going back very far, but I'm feeling like Jannard Avery.
That's a good one. I don't think that linebacker was the issue.
But that him and Bryce Huff, they were getting the quarterback. They're just anchors to those defenses. You know what I mean?
I'm going to say Austin Hall, but I'm going to have him playing actually having him play safety.
That is just not that totally caught me out. I did not know you were a big Austin Hall guy.
I'm not. I think. Well, whatever. Austin Hall was really good, but I want him actually playing safety and not playing like that.
God, actually, that makes me think of, and you posted his tweet because he was at the bowl game. Freaking Jackson Dillon. I want to crush a Busch Light in honor of Jackson.
What's Swamp Donkey doing these days?
Should I go get a Busch Light right now and crush it on air?
If you have one handy, I'm not going to be opposed to it.
I'm going to get it.
I don't know. This podcast has gone off the rails, folks, but welcome back to the solo pod of TJ. It's called TJ Talks, and it's where I just talk to Trey's blank screen. What's up with that donut stamp in the top right corner of that window? You guys can't see it. It's right there. I don't really know what's going on there. I've got questions. It looks like a donut has been smashed up against that window. Tweet me when you see that. I need someone to let me know what they think that mark is. There it is, folks. We have both chugged a beer on the show for no reason.
Oh, that was for Jackson.
You're gonna feel that.
I can't believe I really had a Busch Light in the fridge.
That's actually for Jeff Myers too. That's a Busch Light. I think it's the
Iowa State.
actual.
They sold out the
Iowa
whole
State
city.
beer. I was thinking it was Keystone for some reason, but it was Busch Light.
Busch, baby. I should not be that tired from doing that.
Hey, what's up with this donut looking stamp in your window? Look over your left shoulder.
Oh, that thing?
Yeah, what's going on with the donut stamp?
There's one on that side too.
All right, it's getting weird now.
It's we had one of those cat hammock things. It's
okay, that makes sense. I legitimately thought it was a donut, like someone just went.
Yeah, no. All right, shout out to D Will. All right, TJ.
Getting weird.
On to the beer. Now
That's
that
good.
I've just hammered out a Busch Light, I don't even remember what this traffic was like.
It's good. It's multi again. Like, why do I keep losing on the multi battle?
I don't know. I mean, you drink enough of these, I feel like you should know that that's coming.
I should. I mean, it was good.
I like
it.
this can. This can gives me a I don't know, like almost a comic booky vibe. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I think that's
Looks
what
like
they're
they're
for,
sitting
though.
at this is the steering wheel hands on. Yeah, this rear view mirror's got it looks like the eyes of a female. This side, the crisp side, is a male. Pretty good. Busy can, a lot of stuff on here.
It is a busy can. I think that actually pushes me away from it because it's not like busy in a way that I understand. There's actually so much going on here that I want to write it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to like just from a straight up. This is just on view, like straight on. It's not great. I mean, I like that font. If we could get a Tigers helmet sticker just in that font, it'd probably look pretty good.
I think Johnny Memphis actually put one up the other day.
You're right. Go follow Johnny Memphis. Look at his helmet concepts. They're good. Yeah, it is a little bit busy, and it's a little too bit busy. I mean, it's a good can though. Creative.
It's okay.
Traffic. They're driving a car.
Really put in the thought there.
I'm gonna go like 6, 7 on the can.
Okay, that's much higher than me. I'm gonna go like a 5 on the can. I don't love the can.
You don't like it at all.
No, I don't really understand it. If we're being real honest.
Speaking of this, Auburn game is still on. You know who is you probably love to have him on your team, but is just extremely annoying to watch.
Who?
Wendell Green Jr.
I get that.
I mean, the kid's a spaz.
I like the spaz.
Anyway, sorry. All right, beer wise, IPA 6.2 by volume. This one doesn't have near as much malt finish though.
I definitely like the beer more than the can, but not like
this is good. I mean, that you could definitely have a couple of. This is an after soccer. This is the kind of beer we have after soccer on Tuesdays.
I'm going 7.4 on the beer. I like it.
I was going to go 7.7.
Have a couple of them.
I like it. 7.7 on the beer.
Nice. It's not bad. So 6.7 on the can and 7.7 on the beer.
Yeah,
I went 5.5 and 7.4. So
good brew.
Probably the biggest difference there.
Shouts to Crosstown.
Yeah, we like Crosstown. They're good.
All right, Teach, final thoughts.
This can, it's got too much going on, and we need to rebound. You know,
too much going on, not enough rebounded. You heard it here first. For TJ, this is Trey. Come with a cold brew. Stay for the hot takes. Peace.
If you enjoyed this episode of Tigers Untapped, please leave a like and a comment wherever you download your podcasts. Head over to bluffcitynil.com for comprehensive coverage of Memphis Tiger athletics. We will see you back here next week.